mentoring session on lean startup and minimum viable products business. So, first of all, I would like to welcome our beloved principal, sir, Dr. M.S. Ganesh Prasad, and also take this opportunity to welcome our today's guest and speaker, Mr. Bhargav Sridhar, founder, director, Pickle IT Networks Private Limited, Bangalore. Welcome you, sir. Then I take this opportunity to welcome our beloved HOD, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Dr. Shant Kumar B. Patil. Welcome you, sir. Then I take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Pavitra GS, IIC convener. Welcome you, madam. Then I take this opportunity to welcome all the IIC members. I take this opportunity to welcome all the HODs of various departments, faculty members, and my dear participants. So, welcome you all to this session on lean startup and minimum viable products of business. Now, I request Bhagyashree Pujari, madam, to introduce our today's speaker. Yes, madam, I will hand over this session to Bhagyashree.
Okay, so thank you. Good evening, everyone. I, Bhagyashree Pujari, Assistant Professor, Department of CSE. I am here to introduce our chief guest of the day, Mr. Bhargav Sridhar, Founder, Director at Pickle IT Networks Private Limited. Sir is an entrepreneur and tech innovator known for his expertise in computer science and entrepreneurship. With a distinguished academic background, Sir secured a gold medal in MTech from the prestigious International Institute of Information Technology, Bangalore. Sir's journey into the tech industry began with a notable stint at IBM Research Labs, where he honed his skills and gained a valuable experience over 3 years. Sir is passionate about the innovation and a keen understanding of market needs. Sir ventured into entrepreneurship and founded Pickle Network as the founder and CEO. Sir currently leads the charge in revolutionizing the professional photography industry with an innovative online marketplace and CRM tool tailored specifically for photographers. Recently, Pickle Network secured a significant funding, further solidifying its position as a pioneering force in the tech startup landscape. Sir is also a passionate photographer with a deep expertise in motorsports photography. With this introduction, we are honored to welcome you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Bhagyashree, madam, for giving
Thank you,
a
sir.
wonderful introduction about our today's speaker, Mr. Bhargav Sridhar. So now I will hand over the session to our today's guest and speaker, Mr. Bhargav Sridhar. Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Sir,
Hi all.
sir,
Good evening.
sorry to interrupt. Before that, I would like to tell that around two teams we are going to register as a startup at SVIT, sir. In within 1 or 2 weeks,
Okay, nice.
two startups are going to register. They are also present. One is Kishore. He is from fifth semester. CSE Kishore and Chandan, and also Surya and team is also there. They are also going to present after your presentation, sir. Thank you, sir. You can continue.
Nice. Thank you so much. Good evening, all. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. So since this session is going to be a mentoring session, I'll keep the presentation or anything to be as minimum as possible and as quick as possible. Share my screen. Yes. Can you see my screen here?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So it is going to be about lean startup and MVP. I would like to have this as interactive as possible. Can I have any of the students who have already joined to tell me if they have heard about what MVP is? Any one of you?
Minimum product.
So what exactly do you mean by minimum viable product?
A prototype of the exact actual product.
Okay, so I'll give you two scenarios. One is Since you said prototype of the actual product, imagine you're building a car. Okay, are you going to if you want to build a car, what do you think is going to be your MVP? So you told me you are going to MVP is the minimum prototype. So
Yes,
by
sir.
prototype, what exactly do you mean? If I'm giving you an assignment to build a car,
Yes, sir.
so what would you, how do you approach this problem? What will be your MVP in case of building a car?
The design of the engine.
Page was something like this. I built a very small form. It has your customer business details. It has your customer details. You can add whatever deliverables that you have, right? Uh, Something you add, and then you enter the cost, and then you get the total amount. At the end of it, you pay. You fill in all the forms, details, and everything, whatever you want to fill. At the end of it, you can just create invoice, and then it gets created in the form of a PDF. Correct. So this was our first MVP. We took this, but by the time we built it, we have there were so many invoice builders that was already available. There were so many options that were already available. But our idea was to validate, find out whether the market needs this or not, whether they are willing to pay for this or not. But in return, what I told, use this invoice builder, use this for free. I will get a feedback. Use this for free. But at the same time, give me commission for the leads that I give. Right. So that was the initial source of revenue that we started making. Right. And to generate enough leads, I had to get in touch with weddings also association, the event management companies, and all of those people, and through which I started generating leads. But when I gave this tool to the photographers, we had about initially about 10-15 photographers who started using a product, and then they told me, okay, invoice is good, but I don't want to build invoice. I want to build something called as quotation. A quotation is a similar document like your invoice, where you fill all your deliverables, all your event details, and everything, but you give that as a idea, or it's a quote that you give before the event, right? So such and such an event would cost, say for example, 20,000 rupees. So that is the quotation document. The purpose was similar, the look and feel will be similar. So what we did, from a code, we just copy pasted the whole module and created a new product called the quotation builder. Right, the quotation builder is also live, where the MVP is still live. um, we just renamed the same thing. We just renamed invoice to quotation. We just added few fields, and then even in the PDF that you download, instead of invoice, it will say quotation. One of the photographers said, "I want quotation," so we built that. Another photographer came. He said, "We have studio that we run, so we wanted to make bills, right?" So we created something called a studio bill generator. This also, if you see, it looks very similar to your invoice or quotation, right? We added few features where you can pre-fill your details. You can pre-fill whatever you offer, say for example, passport size photographs, frames, and stuff like that. You can pre-fill all of those, and then again at the end of it, it same gives you the PDF. Now, with just one product that we started off, we had close to 3 products. From a code point of view, from a development point of view, it was all the same for us. All the 3, it was the same code. We just renamed a few modules. Now, all of a sudden, we have a very big product that does 3 major things. Right now, we can start monetizing this. Then we went to the photographers, and then said, are they looking to pay for some tool like this? And they said, no, we are not looking to. I mean, we don't want to pay for this, right? Because all these tools are readily available. Then we thought, okay, so if they are not paying for this, what is the reason? Why? How can we introduce, or how can we improve this? We brought in a dashboard. In the dashboard, you can basically see what is the invoice quotations, what have you done in this month, and all of this. And on top of that, we introduced something called as your portfolio generator, right? So one by one, when we started off adding features based on the requirement, the startup started growing, right? Till this point, we hadn't even registered the company. I didn't know how to register. I didn't know what are all the rules and regulations that are to be followed to register your company. None of this I knew by the time we started. All we had was three different products and one simple dashboard that does this, right? So then at this point is when yeah. Yeah. At this point, your invoice became your quotation generator. From your quotation, it became your what do you call your studio bills, and from there, one by one, we started adding based on your customer feedback. It was not decided by us. We didn't have a proper product team who will decide what is to be done, what is the frequency in which we are releasing the product, where is the product headed towards, and all of this. Bare minimum, we had an idea that this tool is something that we want to build it around photography and photography requirement. Correct? Every time we introduced a new feature, we went around talking to the customer, giving it to them, sampling with them, trying to give them the feedback, getting the feedback and all of it. And most of the time, trust me, most of the time we used to get negative feedback, but still people used to use the product. We used to get to know what was happening in our admin panel. We get to know how many quotations created and all of it. But we used to get negative feedback. But it more often than not, we used to get feedback in such a way that this is all okay, but I need this feature also. This is all okay, I need one more feature. So this is how the generic feedback would look like. Okay. So right now, in the current stage that we are in, we have relaunched the whole product. So if you see, this was live on picklet.in, and we have a new site called boardpickle.ai. So in between, what happened? In between, there was a lot of learning process. There was a lot of market research and all of it. The problem is we didn't have time and money to do extensive market research without having anything in hand. So we built the first version. We took it to the photographers. We asked them to use it, and then we introduced features one by one as people demanded it. And that is when you realize you have a complete understanding of the product, complete understanding of the market, when you know your customers are willing to pay for what you want, right? So this was one of the versions. The photo studio was built, right? This is one of the sample studio for a photographer. We have a very simple, quick drag and drop tool using which you can build this as a photographer. So photographer used to spend a lot of money on building websites, right? We said, don't spend money on the website. Give us one-time subscription fee, and we will give you this dashboard where you can build a portfolio for yourself, right? So that is when we got our first money by selling the products. Earlier, we used to get money through giving leads or building websites for them. But later, when we introduced all these features one by one, when this became a huge dashboard, we started getting funds in terms of photographers willing to pay for a subscription fee, right? So at this point is when we approached external funding to get what do you call seed investment, right? So at this point, we went ahead, got external funding to further build our product with a proper team, proper vision, proper technology, and all of it. So far, I have not spoken anything about what is the technology to choose, how do you build your MVP, and things like that. But all these decisions were made after we got guaranteed of our idea and guaranteed of our solution that the market is willing to pay for it. You can make money out of this business. Only after we got the confidence is when we started off investing more money or pumping more money, getting in external investors to build this, right? So this whole process that we did, so this spanned about 1.5 years, right? So this whole process that we did during this stage is called your lean startup approach or your MVP approach, correct? So now you might probably understand what is the hustle, why do we have to do all of this so much. Now imagine I built the complete, so just to give you an example of what is the current state. So if you can see this, so this is the dashboard. So this was the earlier dashboard that is live as an MVP part. And this is the current dashboard that we are building. You can see this is still in my local host. The site is live on gopitbull.ai, but you can see a lot of features here. You can see file transfer, booking management, home screen dashboard, sophisticated features. We also have a mobile app on Play Store, right? The reason we built it in this way was because on day one, had I spent time and efforts saying I will build this complete dashboard on day one, till I complete to this much of maturity, I will not release it. The problem is you would have already spent a lot of money, you would have already spent a lot of time, but you still don't know whether this can generate money for you in return or not. You still don't know whether the photographers need this or not, correct? So only when we decided we have sufficient user base, we have sufficient ways to make money out of this by selling, only when the team matured, not just the product, the people running the show also matured. To be very honest, when I started off, I had zero idea about how all of these works, right? Only when I matured from this point of view about selling, building a startup and all of this, is when you start working on your final product where one. Okay, so that is where the final topic of how important your team is, how do you build your team, how important your team is, right? It is definitely not possible for one person to know every single detail about building the whole product. Someone would be very good at coding, someone would be very good at selling, someone would be very good at say for example all this government policies, documentation purpose or research purpose and all of it, right? Someone would be very good at creating content for your marketing purpose, someone would be a designer, all of it, right? So you basically have to have a right mix of people in your team who would be able to help you in all of these aspects, correct? It's startup or any business is not just about writing code and launching a product. You might have the best product in the world, but no one knows about it, right? Or no one uses it. You need to market it, you need to sell it, because at the end of the day, it is about generating revenue, it is about generating money, it is about generating value to your customers, correct? So with that perspective, you need to have your team. But again, if you are running the show, if you are a founder, if you are a CEO, the important thing is you need to have basic knowledge about all the domains that are there. Involves marketing, involves sales, it can involve coding, development, all of it. The reason is at least you should be in a position to identify what time it takes for someone to complete that particular task. I think most of it is taught in your software engineering course. I think it is in 7th semester or 6th semester. So in your software engineering course, the basis is how do you approach a project, what are the methodologies you use to build a particular product, how long will it take, what are all the languages to choose, and all of it, right? So now coming back to the last concept of what is the tech solution that we used was, we wanted something as lean in terms of tech also. We did not want to code everything from the scratch, correct? So there are a lot of no code tools, there are a lot of AI based setups. Bare minimum you have your chat GPT anyway available, using which you can build a simple form page. Our first website that was there live was actually made on a no code tool. Okay, so I just used as much no code tools as possible to create a PDF. That was the output. The second version was I used PHP as my backend, simply because I had a little bit of knowledge in developing application in PHP, because there were a lot of packages, libraries, and all of it available. Right. Today we have multiple modules working. We have Angular, we have Flutter for the web. There are so many modules that come later as the product matures as we mature. But day one, you don't need all of these, right? So this whole thing that I spoke about and how you approach a particular problem, how do you get feedback, how do you make sure your idea and the solution that you're giving to the particular problem is something that the market wants and something that the customers are willing to pay, because it is very important that at the end of the day, none of this is a social service. None of this is you're doing it for free, correct? When you come into business, when you come into products, when you come into startups, all of this has to translate into money. Only when your idea is to an extent someone is willing to pay for you is when you can feel that you are going in the right direction. So do you I've kept it as simple as possible. So if you have any doubts, you can let me know. So far.
Anybody have a doubt? Sir, thank you for your presentation. Let us go with some, as I told, some 3 batch students are planning to
Correct,
register.
sir. So do the other students have any doubts apart from those 3 batches? Any doubts or any intention towards building a startup, building planning or anything?
Yeah, let them ask. Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, Bhargav.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening, all of you. Bhargav, presentation was excellent.
Thank you so much for the session, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
Prajwal.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, for like further advice, could we get your contact or like email so that we could ask like any advice if we require from you?
Chat is offline. Yeah, chat is on. Yeah.
No, it's
Can
online.
you enable that chat?
Enabled.
I've dropped in my email address. You can contact me anytime.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Shant Kumar, sir.
Bhargav, thank you for your valuable time and suggestions.
Thank you so much, sir. And to make it, I'm not sure how many of you know, Patil sir used to be my HOD while I was doing my engineering, and not just this particular startup. There were 3 other startups which I have built over the period of time, and almost all of the startups, the initial proofreading, initial verification, initial drafting, idea validation, all of it was actually done by Patil sir. I used to spend a lot of time at the HOD office at the college, and he used to spend time verifying each and every idea, every business strategy and everything. And only after I get a heads up from him is when I start building. So for me, this is more like a form of payback from what I've got from Patil sir. Extremely grateful for it, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sant Kumar sir, for such a wonderful guidance.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Bhargav, sir, I have to know little more about you. Can I go ahead?
Yes, tell me.
Can I ask whether you have any co-founders or are you alone?
Yes, I have a co-founder who is into the sales and operations.
Okay, my question is how
we are. Yeah, we are total 8 people in the team right now, and one of the co-founder is an alumni of your college only. So we didn't meet outside. It's like we didn't meet randomly for the sake of product. All these people I knew beforehand. Well, one was my school friend, one was my friend from another business who was doing well in that business, and then I roped him in. So it was all from a known circle only, not from. I didn't build the team for the sake of product. It was all known people coming together. Just like how
Yeah.
two of your classmates start a company, no? That's how we started.
Yeah, yes, sir. Okay, then there are 3 co-founders, sir, in your company.
We have 2 co-founders actually on paper, but the third one is also equivalent to a co-founder, not on paper.
Sir, my question is, how did you divide your works among yourselves, sir?
Skills and expertise. So I do a lot of tech work, so I take care of the complete technology, right?
Okay.
I do not have much of an experience in sales, so someone who's already experienced in sales and operations, he leads the sales and operation related work. Someone who's experienced in marketing, he leads. So the person who's an alumnus of your college, he does a lot of mobile app development and Flutter development. He takes care of the complete mobile app development. So just by based on the expertise and skill level that each person brings in, their role is defined. That's all.
Okay.
But ideally, when you are running the company, if you lack expertise in something else, 2 things you can do. Either you can bring in people who are good in that domain, or you can learn it yourself. 2 of the things you need to do, because at this point, because there is resource constraints and stuff, if you cannot afford people from outside, there is no other way. We will have to learn. In fact, I had zero knowledge on UI UX designing, but eventually I had to do it because we were not able to afford pay money to someone to do UI UX. All the designs that you see in the first question. Remember, I showed you my first dashboard. The dashboard looks pathetic. Like today, I don't even want to look at the code of that, right? But it was designed by me. It was a very, very bad design, but still, it runs. That's all. I had to learn and do it myself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And last question. ಸರ್ ಇವಾಗ ನೀವು 3 ಜನ co-founders ಇರ್ತೀರಾ, ಏನಾದ್ರು ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಒಬ್ರದ್ದು ರಾಂಗ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ರೈಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಸೊ ಕ್ಲಾಶಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ನೀವು ಹೇಗೆ ಓವರ್ಕಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಬೇಕಿತ್ತು.
See, always our intention, the fundamental intention when you are looking for a co-founder or anything is whether he puts the company's interest in the front behind his own interest. That is the fundamental quality that you have to look at. Whether that person is more involved in growing the company or whether he is involved in growing themselves. There is a lot of ego issues that might come. There is a lot of money issues that might come. All of this will come on a practice. What you asked is a valid question. What you asked is something very, very practical. It will happen to people. But fortunately, I've been blessed with people who always focus on the company. So even if there is an issue here and there, the focus is to do what is good for the company. So in one particular solution, one particular approach, one might be wrong. Probably in a different approach, he might be right. So making sure his approach is listened, even if stuff. And then one of their division had mental health related also. So they had psychiatrists.
But due to the stigma in society, the people hesitate to go to the mental health professionals.
Correct. So there were psychiatrists, and then those psychiatrists also
people
technically.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, those psychiatrists also technically can be hidden, like in the sense like at the end of it, all you do is you talk to a screen, or you just type in your problems and someone responds. Some person, a qualified psychiatrist, responds to your query. That's all. It can be anonymous. It can be made anonymous using tech tools, right? Now, what you are proposing is I will remove the psychiatrist person from there, and then I will bring in AI. Correct. So that is what you are proposing. Right. Now, for that particular proposal, the quality of your idea and the quality of your implementation depends upon how well, what is the model that you are used, how well it is going to solve the problem. Yes, okay. So I think your first approach should be to build a very small, small POC.
Yes, sir.
Use the models, research on what all the models available, research on how you can use it, and then rather than using if-else statement, and then rather than calling ChatGPT API at the back end, you can build your own training data set, you can build your own models.
Yes, sir.
To make sure your proof of concept works. And then possibly you can, because at this point in time, I don't know how you will monetize and all. Let's not go deep into monetizing a startup business here and for this particular idea. You build a model, maybe we can evaluate on how good the model is, how good the solution is, and all of it. Once we start getting responses from that particular model.
Yes, sir.
So that is where the strength of your idea and the solution lies. Do not look at this as a money-making thing or a business thing or anything. At this point, I don't think there is anything of that sort. But maybe the solution is valid, the problem statement is valid. So build a POC around these lines, and then maybe we will have another round of discussion, detailed discussion on how the model works.
Yes, sure, sir.